All right, for this lesson, we're going to learn some alternatives to the regular snare drum. Here was the regular snare drum. And we can swap it out with a few different sounds that are programmed into basically every drum sound that you might pick. So we're using the sound called Motown Revisited because I think it sounds the most like a real drum set. But as you get more time, you're going to want to go in and explore some of the other sounds. But you're going to find that pretty much universally, all of the things I'm going to show you here are on each drum sound that you run into, okay? They're pretty universal. So here's the snare drum. Now, instead of the D, we can play a C sharp, which is called a rim knock. Okay, snare drum, rim knock. It's got a cool woody sound to it. So if we wanted to play a regular rock beat, let's get that going. 1, 2, regular rock beat. All right, now we can do the same groove, but we're going to swap out the regular snare with our index finger. We're going to play a rim knock. Got a cool chill sound to it. Let's try it together. 2, ready, here we go. Everything about the drum groove is exactly the same. Let's go to regular snare. Back to the rim knock. Back to the snare. Back to the rim knock. All right. So that's called the rim knock. Index finger is always used for the snare. Anything related to the snare. Rim knock, play that. Regular snare, play that. Now, these are called, you guessed it, hand claps. Okay, so we could swap those out for the snare drum. Let's try that. So we're going to play. Now on this sound, I wish they were a little louder, but we'll just have to deal with that. Let's try it together. Play a regular rock groove, swapping out the hand claps for the regular snare. 1, 2, ready, here we go. Trying to play perfectly steady, okay? Let's go to the regular snare. And let's go to the rim knock that we just learned. Back to the snare. And let's go to hand claps. All right, now you're probably wondering what this thing is. Listen to the difference in sound between this and this. They're really pretty similar, but in actual music, this makes a big difference. This is called a rim shot. This was a rim knock. This is called a rim shot. It's got an extra ring to it, which helps the snare drum speak over electric guitars, basses, keyboards, aggressive type sounds. To achieve this type of sound, the drummer would hit the center of the drum and the rim of the drum. That's why it's called a rim shot. And it does sound louder because it's got the ringing from the metal of the drum. All rock bands tend to use this sound a lot. Bands like Led Zeppelin or Green Day, for instance. Having a more aggressive option for the snare drum gives the drummer an extra level of intensity to tap into when the group is getting louder or the timbres of the instruments are getting more aggressive. So let's play a regular rock beat, but let's use the rim shot for the snare. 1, 2, ready, here we go. It's got an extra ping to it. Let's go to regular snare. Just a little warmer sound. Let's go back to the rim shot. How about the rim knock? That was C sharp. Back to the snare. Let's go to the hand claps. And then the rim shot. All right, there's one last thing that you can do when you want to switch up the sound of the snare. So we talked about the rim knock, the snare drum, and this is the rim shot. Hand claps. Now, you can use a combination of the snare and hand claps, and that happens a lot in music. A lot of times the drummer will be playing, and they'll be using the snare, and everybody else in the band or in the audience will be clapping on 2 and 4 where the snare is. So 1 and 2. Now, again, I wish the hand claps were a little louder on this particular sound, but you can still kind of hear them. So try to just practice playing those two together. Now, what fingers am I using to do this? When I'm going to do this approach, I'm going to actually break my rule, and I'm going to actually come over here and use these 2 fingers. So I'm going to use the bass drum finger for the snare and the index finger for the hand claps. So it's going to be bass, both. Why don't you play both first and just get used to that. Okay. Snare and clap together. So let's play a regular rock groove, and let's use the snare and the hand claps together. 1 and 2 and ready, here we go. That's it. Okay, so practice playing your rock beat on your own for a while, just with the snare, and then just determine when you want to switch to another sound, swap it out. Make sure you're thinking of the name of the sound when you switch. I'm going to go to hand claps, and try to play whole measures before you switch, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, switch at the beginning of the measure, back to rim knock. You can also incorporate some open hi-hat. Rim knock. Sorry. Back to snare. You can throw in some doubles. Okay, turn your metronome on. I would say 70 is a good tempo. And just practice playing some rock grooves and switching between the rim knock, the snare drum, and the rim shot, and some hand claps. And just have some fun and get creative. And then when you feel very comfortable with this, head on over to the assignment.